Hello everybody, how are you doing? We are just starting to go live here. It is kind of chilly, windy. We got a tank right below us, so the battle bus, so it's a little noisy. We're going to get started. 13 Disciple is going to be joining me shortly. So yeah, let's do this. Good to see everybody. All right, we're going to have 13 Disciple up here joining us, and it's going to be awesome. Let's flip it around, show everybody what's up. Ooh. Awesome. Good to see everyone. Here we go. Hey Blackhawk, how you doing, buddy? It's a little windy, so you might hear some wind. Sorry, I'm trying to shield it. Hey Suit and Tie, how you doing, bud? Looks like you're enjoying that weather, huh? Oh yeah, she's chilly. She is windy today. Look at the flags. Look at the flags going, like everything. There's quite a few people here today. We've got all the people hanging out. 13 Disciples about to be coming back up here in just a few minutes. All the staff hanging out down below, getting ready. A couple of M113s. Can you guys hear me okay? Just let me know. It is windy. It is very windy. Look at the flags on the top of the tanks. Hey, what's up? I gotta get my, I don't know if I have a way. It's a bit windy, but you're just coming through still? Okay. Suit and Tie, you might be able to change the title of the stream. I don't know if you know how to do that. Can you try for me? Try !title. Yeah, change the title of the stream to IRL live from Tank Saturday on OTR. Trouble you up today? Looks like fun. Yeah, Bad Papa Smurf, it's really good. We're doing an IRL stream today. It's good to see you guys. Sepro just got off tanks. What's up, Monkey Boom? Good to see you. Thank you very much. It is windy, guys. Sorry. Crow's Nest. Yeah, that's where I'm at, Cranky. Good to see you, Cranky. We got 13 Disciple here, everybody. It is chilly, but it's a great view. Better windy than hot? Yeah, it's definitely not hot. Good to see you guys coming in. Appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the next couple hours of show. The tanks are going to be rolling around. Everybody's saying, hey-oh. Hey, Painless, good to see you. We got the Blackhawk, Bad Papa Smurf, Monkey Boom, Cranky Monkey's watching.
Hi, friends.
What's going on, Porygon? Good to see you. Suit and Tie. Suit and Tie Dies kicking around.
Nice.
Some people hanging out. Good to see you guys.
Chieftain.
Chieftains are rolling. "13 knows you is probably tanked." Gotcha. Trying to block the wind with my hand. I'm trying to block the wind with my hand, everybody. 25 months, Painless. Dude, let me see the activity feed. 25 months. Thank you for the 25-month resub, Painless. Thank you very much, dude. Hey, Bonlin, how you doing? Thank you, Painless. Representing Canada. Hell yeah, trying. 13's representing Michigan. That's about the energy 13 has today. What's up, Pet J? How you doing? Good to see you. You guys can see some of the tanks rolling. Got the news I was looking for. I did get approved for your disability you were talking about. Bon, congratulations. You guys look a little bagged. We're okay.
Here's Tank Hunter. You got the siren working. You should tell him who's in the crow's nest on that. It's Padre.
Padre's porch, guys. I don't know if you guys know who Padre's is, but he is on the top of, I think it's a sandcat, isn't it? What's up, Deshab? It is a sandcat. I was right. There it is. Bonlin, I'm super happy for you, man. That's amazing. Sorry about the wind. I'm trying to cover it up, guys, so you don't hear it too much. Stands are full. Yeah, it's packed here, Cranky. It's packed.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Like, look at all the standing line. Look at this, Cranky.
All the people next to it.
Awesome to see it again. Awesome. I can feel the wind on the phone. it's like a sail.
Yep.
Good to see so many people here. I am, brother. Now I can get some things taken care of and would like to talk to you in private about something when you get back. For sure, Bonlin. We'll chat soon, bud. For sure. I don't know if you guys can hear Tank Hunter or not.
I'm surprised how full fans are getting.
It's amazing. I'm pumped. Center tower is pretty full, Cranky. It is a phenomenally windy day. Really? 13 has a humor, guys.
Phenomenal.
Wait, that's Tank Hunter talking? Yeah, he's Australian. Tank Hunter's right here.
He's in the black trench coat.
We just zoomed in on him.
And the hat.
Good to see you guys. All the tanks are rumbling in the background, ready to roll, guys. Sorry about the wind again. There's something I can buy to muffle the wind for the phone. Damn, commercial break. Sorry! Sorry, Cranky. He can't hear me anyway. Did you wear the chicken suit to the airport? Oh, yes, I did, Bonlin. There's pictures of it and videos of it in Discord if you want to see it. Sandcat. The tanks are going to start moving here soon, just so you guys know. Tell us, are you really sorry? No, I'm sorry. I really do apologize for the wind. What's up, buddy?
How are you, man?
Good? Say hi to everyone.
What's that?
Say hi.
Hi, everyone.
There you go. Yeah. He's one of the gentlemen that works here at the museum, Blackhawk. Forget his in-game name. It's dangerous from the outside. Oh. They're going to be starting up the tanks here any second. Is the picture quality okay for everybody? I know, Cranky, it's awful. I'll have to gift you a sub after. Hey, ADI, good to see you. Picture's good? Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get like a noise filter, like a wind filter for the phone. Maybe I'll talk to you about that, Cranky, after. Post cave, why not landscape mode? Is that better? Maybe I can shield the... What's going on, Buddha? Yeah.
Let's just see if this works. And I might be able to help you.
Okay. Guys, we're gonna try plug in a microphone.
Do you have a mic jack? No? Hang on.
We're gonna try something here in a sec, guys. Try to get rid of the wind. Hey Goose, didn't know there was an event this weekend? You're streaming hockey in Peterborough? Oh, no way, Crane, that's awesome. There's a deck there now? There is, Straps. What are you doing? Is the wind better when it's shielded like this, guys, at all? Maybe you guys can let me know in chat. A little bit? Okay. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I'll have to buy something for so when we do IRL streams like this that you don't get the wind noise, guys. It's good to see everybody here, though. Fishman. Yeah. I do not. What do you need? A coin. I don't have a coin. Sorry. Everybody, here's the tank hunter.
How you going, vlogs and Sheilas? Enjoying yourselves?
Here's Padres.
How are you, neighbors?
We're live streaming right now.
Fantastic.
You'll send me a link for a Bluetooth mic that you can use for live streams? That would be amazing, Cranky.
That would be awesome.
I appreciate it.
Hope your audience is enjoying the show. It's about to start.
We got about 40 people watching right now.
The best of the show happened already. If you've only just tuned in, you missed this gorgeous, beautiful beast here.
Here we go. Yo, what's up, Six Pack Daddy? How you doing? Look at this stallion. That hat's awesome. And Aussie in Canada, what's going on here? It looks cold. It's chilly. It's chilly. The wind is spry. That's for sure. That's a spoon. When it's not overpowering the rest of the sounds. Good. That's good. That makes me happy. What's going on, Klausy? Good to see you, dude. Samsung S22. There's no 279E here. There is a T72 I'll show you guys after, though. What's up, little wolf? How you doing, bud? Good to see you. You have a stream sniper in the T54? Crashing Chris, thank you, dude. Does it work?
Yep. That's what I use on my sensor.
I might have to take my case off.
Sometimes I have to.
Just one sec, guys. We might be in luck. Just one sec. Just give me... Uh-oh. Can you hold this for a sec? Just give me one sec, guys. What's up? National anthem. Just one sec. National anthem. And a goose. All right.
Samsung will just pick it up.
Hold it. Oh.
You see this soon?
Audience view, camera, streamer view, show chat. There. Wind ASMR, I know. It should be better now. Let me know if it's better, guys. Yep, it's great. Much better. So we have a microphone here. This is great. Thank you very much. Padres lent us a mic, so there's no wind. %100% better? Nice. Goose ASMR now? Oh, jeez. It's got a windscreen on it too, so it's good. All right, let's check this out. It's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. They're gonna move all the tanks out soon. They're gonna be ripping by, and then after this there's a Leopard and an M60. They're gonna have like a mock battle with actual cannon firing and stuff, so it's gonna be awesome. Any t-shirt cannons? No, no t-shirt cannons. Thank goodness. You're gonna have to turn your sub down for that. Here we go. M113. M60.
First goose.
M113, right?
Yeah, is our American packet.
M60. Sheridan. There goes the Sheridan.
Then we have our Canadian vehicles.
Going in that 551.
There's a Cougar.
He demanded that in Granada.
Oh, cool. Then we have our Soviet vehicles following the
Leopard. Whoa, she got real windy, real fast. The BMP. T-54.
And then bringing up the rear is our British vehicles with the two real big boys.
A couple Chieftains.
Mark 11 and a Mark 10.
A Mark 10 and 11 Chieftains, guys.
That's 11.
11,
Berlin is the Mark 10.
and here's the Berlin.
Mark 10 Chieftains in camouflage from Berlin.
Nice. There is two Chieftains, yeah, Mark 10 and 11.
The 10's the green one.
The 10,
The 11's the green one. The 10 is the Berlin camouflage.
there you go.
The 113 is an American 113. You can tell it's different from the Canadian because it doesn't have the extended tanks on the back. It doesn't have the wire cutters on the front. It doesn't have turn signals.
There you go. What's up, dude? It was definitely me, Shellcatcher. Kwashibi, good to see you, dude. Good to see everybody here, guys. I can't see the names because the microphone covers the names, so sorry, guys.
We've got a BMP, we've got a T-54, we've got a 34 in the barn, and we're getting a T-72 that runs this month.
Awesome. No, I am sorry. I do apologize. I can't see the names on the side for everybody. I can see what you're saying, though, so that's good. Here we go. This is in Oshawa, Ontario. We are at the Ontario Regiment Museum. So they do these tank Saturdays about 6 times a year, I believe. And then there's one in February that is the Winter Warfare.
Here come the Americans.
Here we go. Proto, thank you for the 6-month sub to Cranky Monkey. That's awesome, dude. Thank you. These are the American tanks. The American tanks are going out for their spin.
The guy in the crew commander's spot in the Sheridan was a U.S. tank officer. He commanded the Sheridans in Grenada.
Well, there you go. We got the Cougar next and the Leopard.
Grizzly.
Grizzly?
Grizzly, the BC version. Carries a sprint section in the back. The Cougar has a fire system on top with a Scorpion turret.
There you go. Look at that M60. She purrs, boys.
Painted Marine Corps colors.
Proto, again, thank you for that 6-month gift sub, dude. Very kind. All good, just watching tanks spin. Yeah, dude, it's pretty cool. What's up, Wark? How you doing, buddy? My lightsaber, it's at the hotel. Check that out. What's up, Shadowheart? Good to see you, dude. Good to see you, Wark. How are you, buddy?
And our executive director is going to do...
Sorry about the wind, guys. Hopefully it's not as bad as before. Hear you, but not the commentary? Okay. I can hardly hear it here, Cranky, at this tower. They needed a speaker over here, I think, Cranky, like if for the tower and for because you can't hear anything over here at all. There's somebody in the center tower. I don't know if they'll let me in it. Let's try. This one's set. We go for a walk. Let's zoom out so it's not so shaky. Yeah, the T-72 is right here behind us. I'll go show you guys the T-72 real quick just while we wait. There's no wind here. This is the Ontario Regiment Museum's T-72, guys. Thank you, Leftemark. That's very kind. Oh, no way. Really? Did he? That's super cool of Skill. It is a flat tank. I can't even fit in it. Like, I can't fit in that tank at all. Let's go take a look. The Sheridan's moving around.
So this vehicle actually is a tank. It's not an armored personnel carrier, but it's not a vehicle that is designed primarily for fighting other tanks. It's known as an IFV, or Infantry Fighting Vehicle. A vehicle that goes alongside infantry and gives them some super heavy support. This is the M551 Sheridan, built by the United States. It came into existence, it was brushed actually, in the 1960s in the Vietnam War. It had some super experimental technology on it. So for instance, it has this massive gun, 155 millimeters, and that weapon can penetrate the armor of other enemy tanks. But other experimental technology they had, from that main weapon, they could fire a shillelagh missile. So imagine inside that turret, they have your conventional shells, which you can see in the museum, massive 155 millimeter, or they have the wire-guided shillelagh missile. That never got fired in Vietnam. The only time that they actually fired the shillelagh missile in anger was in the 1991 Gulf War, and that was after the Cold War. So these saw service from the 1960s right up into 1991 with the United States. Also, what makes it an IFV and not an MBT or a main battle tank? It's armor. Once again, it was made to be light, and it's considered to be the last light tank. When you're in the MVCC and you look at the World War II tanks, you see light, medium, heavy tanks. Well, they're getting away from that concept and going to the main battle tank. So the Sheridan, being an infantry support vehicle, its armor is only made of aluminum, just like the M113. So it protects its crew from shrapnel, from artillery, small arms fire, but it doesn't protect its crew from a direct hit from another tank. So when the Sheridan would come up against an MBT, it would get out of dodge really, really fast. And that's why you can see, like most reconnaissance vehicles, it has these.
Jeff.
Those are smoke grenade launchers.
Cranky
And
says
you
hi.
might see those on a lot of the vehicles here at the museum today. What they are is if this vehicle gets itself into trouble, all of a sudden it rolls around the corner and there's a T-72, it can create a huge cloud of smoke, kind of like a battleship, if you think of battleships in World War I. And in that smoke, it can escape and create some confusion. So it has all of those capabilities to be a reconnaissance vehicle, an infantry fighting vehicle, but also at its heart, it is a tank. It's exceptionally agile, and as a tank, because it's so light at only 19 tons, it was airdroppable, and it can swim.
It covers my
Think
camera.
about the terrain of Southeast Asia. We wanted a vehicle that could be on all of those different terrains, in swamps, across rivers, and that's why they came up with the M551 Sheridan. Let's hear it for the Sheridan team. Very fast, very agile for a tank. The engine inside that tank is actually the same engine with a supercharger as you'd see in the M113 armored personnel carrier. So at only 19 tons, just slightly over the weight, 16 tons of the M113 carrier, it could move very quickly and do all those great things like I was telling you about fording rivers and actually swimming across small lakes. Let's look at something a little larger. We were talking about IFVs, infantry fighting vehicles. Now let's look at an American main battle tank. So this is an MBT. The Americans developed the M60. This is an M60 main battle tank. I think it's the armor or the speaker, I'm not quite sure.
Good to see everybody, guys. Appreciate you all being here, hanging out today. Please don't aim at me.
And as you can see on the barrel there, a lot of tanks here have nicknames. This one's known as Grumpy. And I think you'll find out why at the end of the show. So the Americans, they wanted to develop a main battle tank. Okay, they were getting out of small, medium, and large tanks, and they had the patent family of
He did, he aimed right at me.
Into tanks, you might know about the M48 and the other earlier patents. But then they built the M60 main battle tank, and that was right before the M1 Abrams in 1981. This was America's main battle tank. And until the Abrams replaced all of the tanks in service, the M60 was in American service right up into the 1991 Gulf War after the Cold War. But it was designed...
The turret on the top spins, guys, on top of the turret. Look at it.
Tanks. They wanted to have a tank that was bigger, faster, and had a bigger punch than what they were seeing the Soviet Union building at that time. This ridiculously thick and sloped glacis plate on the front could take a direct hit from almost any tank in the world up until about the mid-1980s. And also they have the standardized 105 millimeter NATO round on the main gun there, and it could take out any tank, including T-72s that the Soviet Union had throughout the Cold War and after. It was built by Chrysler in the United States, and then the Americans exported this tank to many of their allies. So here we are again in the 21st century, and you'll still see M60s on the battlefields and in militaries. I believe that Spain still has a lot of M60s,
That's cool, Van Slick.
A lot of M60s in the Middle Eastern armies, and they're still in service to this day. It's a monster.
Good to see a 3v1.
The heaviest and largest piece of equipment in our collection at 50 tons. So 50 tons of steel and armor.
I'm just trying to be quiet so you can hear the commentary.
Of speed, armor, and firepower at the time. So it's pretty well balanced. Like you see, the Sheridan is very quick, lightly armored, and so they gave up a lot of armor for that speed. But the M60 is a well-balanced tank built by the United States. Let's hear it for the M60 team.
Here it goes. Guys, that's so awesome. You should hear it sound like up close. It rumbles, baby. It rumbles. Good to see everybody here this afternoon. 3v1 Bunny, great to see you. It looks like we got TNT Man.
Capable main battle tank.
Suit and tie, Blackhawk.
You saw the Americans had their armored personnel carriers,
Shadow.
their infantry fighting vehicles like
Van
the
Slick,
Sheridan,
good to see you.
and also their MBT of the Cold War at that time, the M60. Now we talk about NATO, and as you know, Canada, our country, was one of the founding members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And Canada not only had a role in defending Europe, Canada had a permanent brigade, an armored brigade presence in Europe up until the end of the Cold War. So what were the Canadians using at the time? Marshall,
Send out the Canadians.
Here come the Canadian tanks that were used. Not much wind here. I'm literally just sitting on the ground. Good to see you, Mustang. How are you?
So what we have here is actually a Canadian-made vehicle built right in London, Ontario. And it was built during the Cold War, in the later part of the Cold War. And it is also an APC, or an Armored Vehicle General Purpose. As you can see, we have the Canadian troops come out here.
My battery pack.
What's that?
Now,
I will have to go get my battery
as
pack.
Canada, we
It's in the car.
have and have had all the time. We had the M113s. But in the late 1970s, in that part of the Cold War, Canada was looking to get some more domestically developed and produced military vehicles and restart up since the Second World War, sort of our military production. And we looked around the world at different designs, and we looked at what other people were doing. And so initially the hull of this was from a Swiss company called Mowag. And so Canada licensed those designs. And this is the development. It ended up being called the AVGP, or Armored Vehicle General Purpose. It's wheeled, not tracked, but very much like the M113, these vehicles can be used in many roles. And here we have with the infantry, this is an armored personnel carrier. But unlike the M113, it has a turret. And in that turret, it was able to give its infantry support. That turret houses a 30 cal and a 50 cal machine gun and can spin around and give complete 360-degree protection to the troops that are coming in and out of this APC. There was several variants, and you can see those in the museum.
Good to see everybody, by the way. I appreciate you all coming in, watching.
Was the General Motors Diesel Division in London, Ontario, which then became and was bought by General Dynamics Land Systems, which you can see is now building LAV-3s, Strykers, and even Abrams tanks. This is the new Abrams tank that was just released last week. So a Canadian design, Canadian vehicles came into service in 1978, and they only came out of service in 2001. Now, why wheeled? At that time, Canada not only had its commitments in defending Europe or deploying forces for the Cold War, but Canada at that time was also very much involved in UN and peacekeeping missions. And some of those missions
You're welcome,
are
Mark.
urban missions. Vehicles like this were deployed to former Yugoslavia, Bosnia, and other places around the world in a peacekeeping role, and sometimes in urban roles. So the wheeled actually did a lot better than the track. It doesn't tear off roads. It still has a lot of off-road capability. Also, Canada was looking for vehicles other than tanks that they could deploy quickly within our capabilities, within the shipping capabilities of the Canadian Armed Forces. So that's why this type of vehicle was developed here in Canada. It is the grandfather of all the series of Lab vehicles up to the Lab 6 that the Canadian Armed Forces are currently using. But that development and technology started in the Cold War in the mid-1970s. So not meant for fighting tanks. The vehicle, once again, is an APC. It's for moving troops around the battlefield. It does give them some extra infantry support.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here.
With the turret and the machine guns, and can carry a full section of Canadian infantry. So that's the AVGP. This is actually the AVGP Grizzly. Mount up, soldier. It doesn't have a ramp. It's not very thickly armored. Once again, the APC has enough armor to give its crew protection. Another improvement over the M113 is look at the side of the vehicle. See these vision ports here? So unlike the M113, which is a giant metal box, the troops inside the AVGPs have some sort of situational awareness. They can look out. It's not like a window. It's a very thick, rated for a 50 cal bullet.
You're welcome, guys.
Viewport. They have
I'm glad you guys are enjoying it.
Ability and situational awareness to see outside. As it goes around, you'll see that it also has those on the back doors. So it was much more comfortable and gave the group inside an idea of what was going on outside the vehicle.
Cranky.
Well, let's hear it for the AVGP team.
Cranky, is it okay if 13 comes and sits beside me?
So you can see
he said, of course,
on the
you
side.
can come over.
I'm going to grab my camera then.
Okay, cool.
Also having a turret there with a commander and a gunner inside. There's more information in the vehicle as to what was happening outside the vehicle.
My butt's wet. I got my battery pack, guys, so we're going to be streaming for a while.
It has full 6-wheel drive. So not as capable as a tracked vehicle, but very capable. They were also designed to be amphibious. But they had some difficulties with that. They were, in the early stages, they were training on fording and crossing lakes with these vehicles. You can see their shape. Many who served on them called them boats, but that was discontinued. It actually had a propeller on the back. It wouldn't just use its wheels, it had a propeller that would propel it through the water. But Canada also had tanks and main battle tanks. Let's have a look at one.
Here we go. PP is definitely raised, guys. The barrel is raised.
So here is a tank, a main battle tank like you saw with that American M60. Canada did develop and build some tanks in the Second World War, like the Ram and the Grizzly Sherman, and we built tens of thousands of other military vehicles, but Canada didn't continue that after the Second World War and didn't have a homegrown solution for building tanks. So we bought them from our allies. So after we retired our Shermans, and you see lots of Shermans there in the museum, we bought Centurions from the British. And you can see it, Canada's only running Centurion in that vehicle, in the MVCC there. But by 1977, the Centurions were very long in the tooth. At first, the British were using them, and the Australians to our right, and we were using them. But eventually,
Preacher, you can actually also get tank rides and stuff. They sell like tank rides, so you can ride on a Leopard or you can ride on an M60 for a fee as well.
So we had to look for a solution. So at the same time that the Canadian military was looking at
they're not small Mustang, they're real big.
New generation of armored vehicles and personnel carriers, we looked to Germany.
You're welcome, watcher.
Western Germany.
If you enjoy it, don't forget to follow the channel.
And they were developing this new tank, the Leopard 1. So the Leopard, think about German tanks that are famous in World War II, the Panzer, the Tiger, they all have cat names. Well, in Western Germany, many designs and ideas that they had at the end of the war and shortly after the Second World War once they were our allies, they started building tanks again. And they built one of the best main battle tanks ever built, and that is the Leopard 1. We talked about the M60 and how it was like a perfect balance of maneuverability, firepower.
I have before. I don't know if I will today.
Well, the Germans went with a different idea. They thought the first person to see you and shoot you, and then it's over, regardless of your armor. So the Leopard, they sacrificed some of the armor for speed. It still has a lot of armor. It can take some direct hits from other MBTs, but not as thick as armor as you saw in that M60. But in losing all that weight, almost 10 tons in weight, the Leopard is a much faster and maneuverable vehicle. Has an exceptionally powerful engine. I'm actually having a difficulty talking over top of it, even with a microphone right now. And as I said, it's kind of shaking the air in my lungs as I speak. And that will happen when you see it go by several times. So in 1977, Canada purchased these Leopard 1s from Germany, our ally. And this is an early Leopard 1. You can see it has a welded turret. Some of the other Leopards that you'll see at the end of the show have more advanced turrets, but the first turrets were welded turrets. They give their crew some protection.
What's up, Evo?
IFVs, artillery, and stuff like that, but not a lot of protection from a direct hit.
The wind makes it chilly.
Shell. The gun, just as powerful and as lethal as the American M60 with a 105 NATO weapon. But when you see it go around, you'll notice that it's much faster.
Look at the intent. Look at the flag, guys.
Canada still has a relationship.
Look at it go. That's how windy it is.
Leopards and the different variations. This is the Leopard C1, the C2 in the year 2000.
That is a Leopard.
Only retired from Canadian service in 2017. They saw deployment in Afghanistan, which is well after the Cold War. And now the Canadian Armed Forces uses the German Leopard 2. So really, Canada has joined that group of nations that has taken on the Leopard as its main battle tank. So they're going to whip around, and let's hear it for the Leopard 1 crew.
Oh, that rumbles.
I can feel it.
I can feel that in my chest.
Hear that engine? See how it takes that corner so much faster than the M60? The whole concept was to get to a firing point, fire at the enemy tank, and then be able to maneuver quickly to a new firing position. Now the Cold War, and we wouldn't be telling you the story properly if we didn't show you some of the equipment that we were up against.
Here we go.
Why were we making these different developments, and what were the vehicles that our designers in the West were looking at when they were developing their new vehicles in that arms race of that period? So we're going to now look at some vehicles that were built in the Soviet Union. Marshall, send out enemy force.
Here we go. You guys ready? Again, great to see. I wish there was a mouse. No mouse.
Those don't run.
Yeah, no, they don't run well. It's great to see everybody, guys. Seriously, you guys are incredible. There's so many of you hanging out today. Thank you. Here we go. You're not ready? Unlucky. Because here it comes. Keep it, Tilla. Synthetic.
After the Second World War, the Soviet Union had the largest army in the world with the most armored vehicles, and you can see why it was such a threat to Western Europe and to the Western Allies. As relations soured between East and West, they already had all the factories, all the designers, and all of the experience to build some of the most deadly and effective military machines the world had ever seen. And they had a concept. You looked at the American M113 armored personnel carrier, and you looked at that later Canadian AVGP personnel carrier. They had a concept for an APC that would mix both a carrier and the capabilities of a light tank. And they came up with the BMP, and this is a BMP-1. So it is an armored vehicle for carrying troops, but it also has a main weapon, coaxial machine guns, a turret. It can operate very much like a light tank. It can take on other armored vehicles and give infantry support. For obvious reasons, we don't have any Soviet soldiers coming out the back today to show you how that works. But look at this vehicle and compare it to what our troops were using and our allies. This is exceptionally fast. It's amphibious. It can push itself through water. It actually has a fin that pops up in a snorkel, so it can cross rivers and small lakes. It's much more low profile than our armored personnel carriers, so it can hide. You see those plates on the side and the viewports. Amazing situational awareness of those troops, that section of troops that are inside this vehicle. So they have all this firepower. They have the similar protection to the Western Allies APCs, but they can see out.
Feels like there's a bug crawling on my back.
And those are fire points. They can actually open up those doors, and the infantry, from the safety and comfort of the vehicle, can be firing at the enemy outside the vehicle from those ports on all sides. So an amazing advancement over Western APCs. This is one of the areas where the East really had the edge. And once again, like the Soviet Union, they built these not only in Russia, but throughout the Soviet Union, and set up factories with all their allies throughout the world. And we're mass producing these BMPs. Now in the world today, you know, our President Al Duffy was talking about the current conflict in the Ukraine. You still see BMP-1s, and you see later BMP-2s and 3s. It was such a successful vehicle. Now, we talked about nuclear annihilation. They were thinking ahead of that too. What happens if they do decide to invade Western Europe and a nuclear war breaks out? The vehicle is actually capable of completely sealing
really cool,
everybody
guys.
inside, scrubbing the air from outside, so that the soldiers inside could continue fighting for up to 7 hours in a nuclear blast zone. Consider that. So the Soviet Union was actually planning and developing equipment for a nuclear war. It wasn't just theoretical. They were building their equipment so that if there was a nuclear war, and if they had to invade Western Europe, they could do so regardless of how many bombs went off. And think about what a scary battle space and what a scary situation that would have been. Imagine also that you are allied
then they die.
infantry in your position in Western
It's
Europe,
true.
and you have your APCs and tanks, and thousands of these are coming towards you with all that firepower and all that manpower. A very, very scary vehicle. It looks scary, and it is exceptionally dangerous. It's also exceptionally capable. This thing could spin circles around any of our APCs. So as scary as that is, we're here to educate you about it so that you can get up close and see some of this equipment, and here you can also experience it. The other thing about Soviet and Russian vehicles is the smoke. That's normal for these vehicles.
You put the engine.
Thanks, Ken. All right, now let's hear it for the crew of the BMP-1. And then we're going to show you what this thing can do.
Here we go.
Whoa.
Look at that traverse.
All that mud.
Marcus McCary says it's just like my 85 Escort.
As you can see, that thing can really move, and Ken was really showing it off for you guys, some of the capabilities of that vehicle. And the crew commander almost lost his hat. All right, let's look at a Soviet main battle tank.
Here we go. T-54, 55.
Once again, note the smoke. That's normal for these vehicles.
Look at the smoke, guys.
You'll see a vehicle eventually.
Yeah, right? Comes with its own smoke screen.
So what we see here is a Soviet T-54 MBT main battle tank. This is a vehicle that is made for fighting other tanks. Now let's look at some of the design elements here.
Check this out.
Just like the Centurion of British service, this vehicle came out of all the lessons of the Soviet Union from the Second World War. And they were developing a vehicle like this in 1945 when the war ended. However, it didn't end up being produced until the 1950s. Note that it's low profile. Think about how tall that M60 was. And although lower profile, it's much lower than even the Leopard. It has a smaller gun. It's a 90mm main weapon. It's not the NATO 105. It has fairly adequate armor for fighting other main battle tanks, but this is what's scary about the vehicle. It wasn't made to be better than the Western tanks because they knew they had more. In Europe, there would have been 10 to 20 of these on a sector for every one Allied tank. Think about that.
Hey, Bravo.
So
Hi,
the tactics
Bravo.
that the Russians were using were massed armor. So massed armored personnel carriers and tanks.
It'll be back, Zico. It'll be back.
Got taken out as long as it took out at least one M60. So it didn't have to be a better tank. But this tank did, in fact, scare the Western Allies a lot. And the Soviet Union had these in all of their Soviet republics, and then they were exporting them all around the world. The T-54-55 tanks are the most produced MBT ever. Over 80,000 of these tanks.
80,000.
So many, in fact, that they are still on battlefields and in army inventories all over the world to this day, well into the 21st century, because it's just a reliable tank, a great platform, and so many of them were built. So many governments in smaller countries can afford T-54s and T-55s. One was actually captured in Europe by the Western Allies during the revolution.
It's true, QWERTY presser.
Hungarian Revolution, and the British got to have a good look at it. And the British, looking at this and looking at what the Soviets were doing, they wanted to make a tank that could take out those 10 T-54, T-55s. That would way outgun,
Jeremy, he's the head of the museum.
Very shortly what the British came up with when they were up against BMPs, T-54s, and T-72s. So let's hear it for the T-54 team.
Here we go.
talk about extra firepower. Look at the 50 cal Dishka that's up on the top there.
Look at that gun.
Commander.
She is chilly with the wind, guys.
Now the United Kingdom, for those of you that know a bit about tank history, United Kingdom was the home of the tank, where the tank was developed in the First World War. And throughout the Cold War and to today, they have a very developed domestic military industrial capability. So unlike Canada and other smaller middle powers that purchased our equipment off of the United States or off of Germany and other allies and created new military vehicles, the United Kingdom developed their own. They wouldn't buy
Loon, thank you for the 27-month resub, dude.
Maybe similar.
Thank you very much.
And build it at home, including tanks. So the Centurion, as I was saying, which was the main battle tank of the UK and Commonwealth forces, it was coming out of service, and they needed something that would be the next generation of tank.
I'll be making a small donation after the stream to the museum, just so you guys know.
This vehicle, after they had a close look at what was being built in the Soviet Union and what they'd be up against if Armageddon ever actually happened. So let's have a look at the military vehicles of the United Kingdom.
You're very welcome, Zuthas.
Marshall, send out the Brits.
Here come the British tanks. I bought 2 new Kobe models, so any of the profits from that go to the museum, and I'll be making a $100 donation after the stream to the museum as well. It's a lot smaller scale, Mark. They did the American stuff at the first. They'll be bringing it back around, I'm sure. You guys get basically as close as you can get to the action. We can thank Cranky Monkey for allowing it, but we're on the side of the safety wall. Good to see you, Rakan.
So here we have the UK version of an APC, Armored Personnel Carrier. And this is the FV 432, or Fighting Vehicle number 432. Of course, they were not going to be buying M113s from the United States or even producing them under their own license. The British Army wanted to have its own homegrown solution. As you can see with the British Army today and their equipment, Warrior,
Hi, Mom.
etc., Challenger.
Good to see you.
So here we have the UK version of an APC, and you can see it's very similar to what the rest of the Allies were using, the M113. It's basically a metal box that moves troops around the battlefield.
A metal box.
It does not have a ramp. It has a huge door. There's a lot of debate on the strength of the design versus the M113. It saw a lot of service, and the UK actually exported these to a lot of the Commonwealth and a lot of their allies in the Cold War. So they were building these vehicles and selling them, and in some cases you can still see these in inventories in armies today. Unlike the M113 that was aluminum armor, they used steel. And it had some of the limitations of the M113. Once again, look at the lack of viewports and no situational awareness for those that are
Jeremy,
inside.
he's the head of the museum.
For those inside, to be able to look outside and see what's going on, to see the situation, they actually have to stick their head up.
Synthex said LA Uber drivers would love one of these.
They had an incredible amount of variance of the FE432, however. Just like the 113, they even had mortar platoons, where the mortar crew could be in the back of the FE432, fire the mortars from inside the vehicle, and then move quickly to another location.
It's true gravel donkey.
So
She is.
It's an interesting example of how the British military, the British industry was building during the Cold War and at the end of the 20th century. The FE432. It also had smoke launchers and other things that are very similar
Fair lane.
to the M113, but completely built and used by UK forces. Now let's hear it for the 432 team.
Sorry. Is that better?
And now we're going to see the real big heavy of the show.
Just give me one sec. I took the microphone off. Let me know if the wind gets too much, guys. Good, now I can plug in my battery.
Notice the crew commander holding his hat. Doesn't want to turn into tank dust.
Sorry about that, guys.
There are certain vehicles we only bring out a couple times a year, and you're going to see those now. Our British main battle tank, with a very distinctive engine sound.
It's got a very high whine to it, guys. Here it comes, the Chieftain. Thank you, Cranky.
This is the Chieftain main battle tank. Like I said, they were looking at what their allies were building, like the M60, the Germans were building the Leopards, and the British wanted to build something on a different concept. You think of the Leopard was built for mobility, so they gave up a lot of their armor for that mobility. The Americans wanted a balanced tank, so they went with the M60. It's not that fast, but it's fast enough.
Sorry, Mark.
It has good firepower and amazing protection. Well, the British had a completely different concept, and it ended up, they looked at the Centurion, and they came out with the Chieftain, and it went through many different variations.
Thanks, Bad Papa Smurf. Good to see you, dude.
Is a Chieftain Mark 11, one of the last variations. Mobility, forget mobility, they thought. If this turns into a shooting war, we're going to need the protection and the firepower to defend against all of those mass Soviet tanks. So what are we going to do? They made a tank that was 60 tons. The armor is the thickest of any armor in our collection. And if you think that Canada, the United States, and the other NATO countries, they had that 105 millimeter main round. And the Soviets had that, and they also had like the 90 millimeter. They came up with 120 millimeter main weapon. Look at the size of this gun compared to the other MBTs. So the vehicle is not going to be as maneuverable. And to make it even more difficult, in the early stages, in the early Mark Chieftains, they had a lot of engine problems. Because the British tried to make it a multi-fuel, a new generation of tanks is to have a multi-fuel engine. It can use either diesel or petrol, and that led to lots of problems in the engine. But heck, if your engine dies, at least you're basically a sitting fortress, and not many shells are going to get through. Also, like the Soviets, they were thinking about what if the Cold War goes hot and we're now using atomic weapons. So they built systems, and you can see them back in the bustle there of this huge turret. There's actually air scrubbing systems there, so that in a nuclear apocalyptic landscape, not only would these tanks be tough, have massive firepower, but they would be able to continue to fight for over a day. It would keep the crews alive, keep the radiation out, and keep the crews alive
For
inside
over a
this
day.
tank to fight on that battle
Screw you,
space.
Russians,
As you
for
can
7
imagine,
hours.
would be horrifying. So just like the Soviets, they were thinking that this might actually turn into a nuclear war, an atomic war. And they wanted to have the latest technology and the best main battle tank. So much, much slower than their allies, but with an incredible gun. The gun was so incredible and so powerful and accurate that it actually made its way onto the next generation of tanks, British tanks, the Challenger 1. And the longest recorded tank-to-tank kill in history,
It is impressive,
which happened
Bravo.
in the Gulf War,
Here we
was
go.
a Challenger 1 with the same gun. So British were well ahead of their time with the tank. It was actually massive, and when these tanks were on standby, the crews, you had a situation where, because the engine always had to be kept warm, the crew's feet would never touch the ground. So they would be sitting there on their tanks, in their tanks, until the next crew came and said, well, it's my shift now, you guys can go have some rest. But these tanks were on standby in Europe, in the United Kingdom, almost until the end of the actual Cold War. Let's hear it for this Chieftain Mark 11 team.
Let's hear for the Chieftain. Yay!
Now, when it comes around again, I want to also point out something very interesting. We're talking about how British tanks have been developed since the First World War, okay, since 1915. You see the eyes on the turret of this tank? On either side, there's these eyes. There's these slightly slanted eyes. And British tankers put those on their tanks. They're called Chinese eyes, and it's not meant to be derogatory in any way. But during the First World War, it was the Chinese labor battalions that came over, and they were given the tasks of assisting the Royal Armoured Corps with all the heavy tasks that are about maintaining tanks and moving their ammunition. And the British tankers never forgot their Chinese comrades from the First World War that assisted them in that conflict.
That's awesome.
And the friendship that they developed between those the
They do it as a
Chinese
sign of
labor
respect.
battalion and the Royal Tankers. And so even to this time in the 1990s, they put those eyes on their tanks as a remembrance of those Chinese allies.
That's
an
awesome.
interesting point on this vehicle.
Here we go. You hear that like high pitched like whine, like growl?
Not exceptionally fast, but incredibly powerful and well protected. That's the British Chieftain Mark 11. Now, if you think about, and boy, are they loud, right? So if you think about the front lines of the Cold War, or what Churchill called the Iron Curtain, the city of Berlin was behind the Iron Curtain. It was deep into Soviet territory. And the United Kingdom, the United States, France, they had a section that they were responsible for in Berlin. So if that Cold War went hot, what kind of vehicles would you have in Berlin? You're now behind enemy lines. And this is what the British came up with.
Target, get ready. Here comes the Mark 10 Berlin.
Interesting looking tanks that we have in our collection, and lots of little kids call it the Lego tank because I think it's actually made out of Lego. What this is once again, it's that powerful Chieftain main battle tank, but it's from a brigade that was stuck behind the Iron Curtain defending Berlin, and their job would be just to hold until relieved, until the Western Allies can break through.
Is the wind okay, guys?
In Berlin. And they are in an urban setting. Like, this tank sticks out like a sore thumb here in this on this field with all these trees in the background. But you can see how the Mark 11 and other military vehicles we showed you could blend in with a little bit of camouflage. But what do you do if you're in downtown Toronto? How do you hide your tank? So they came up with, British tankers in the Berlin Brigade came up with this urban camouflage. And the camouflage, instead of having wavy lines like nature would have with trees and hills, it has very straight and cut lines, like a cityscape. Buildings, cars, signs. And believe it or not, if this tank was hidden in a parking lot behind a building, it would be harder to spot from the air and harder to spot from enemy reconnaissance than something that was all green. If it was all green, it would stick out like a sore thumb. So this very special camouflage actually was the idea of a trooper, somebody who served on these. He was thinking back to the First World War and the dazzle ships. The British would put funny patterns all over their ships in the First World War, not to hide the ship, so that the enemy couldn't tell what type of ship it was, because of all those funny lines. And they tried that on it, and went up to command, and they said it's a brilliant idea, and the entire brigade that were there until 1991, they painted their tanks this way, so they could fight in that urban landscape and have some sort of camouflage in Berlin. What's incredibly special about this tank is we didn't just paint it that way. This tank, this one here, actually served in Berlin up until the end of the Cold War. Was donated to our museum and was restored and repainted by the volunteers, including some of the guys that are in it right now. So let's hear it for the Berlin Brigade Chieftain team.
Woo! Yeah!
And a special lesson in camouflage, how you're going to hide a 60-ton tank if it's in a cityscape. And this is what they came up with, and it actually works.
Oh, I've been inside all of them. They have some World War II tanks here. They're just not out today because today's Cold War era. But they have like Shermans and Chaffies, and they got all kinds of stuff here, guys. Definitely check it out if you can.
late 20th century version of that slow lumbering tank from the First World War. Massive, with a massive weapon, almost indestructible.
We're at the Ontario Regiment Museum.
And those Chieftain tanks,
somebody will post the link
just
for you
as
so
the
you can see
Allies
it.
were afraid of those BMPs and other Soviet tanks, when they saw the Chieftain, they panicked. And that spurred a lot of additional
Thank you,
development
Turcox, for the
in
follow. I
weaponry
appreciate
and in
that,
armored
dude.
vehicles in the Soviet Union.
Thank you for that
Those
follow.
particular vehicles. I also mentioned that you don't usually see, like I said, we don't bring them out very often. This is the first time that both of our Chieftains have been in the tank arena at the same time. So, the show's not over yet. We have a special finale. But now that you've learned more about these vehicles, about their history and their use, and there's not just going to be a bunch of armor rolling past you, we're going to parade all the vehicles one more time so you guys can get some videos, get some pictures, and have a look at maybe your favorite vehicle. We're going to do a vehicle parade, the Armageddon parade, and then we'll get to the finale of our show.
Just one sec. Let me stand up, guys.
Marshal, Marshal, send out the tanks.
We're going to move a little closer. Yo, Targi, thank you for the 1,000 bits. It was an M60. This is a Sheridan. Grizzly. Leopard. T-54. Check this out. T-54. The BMP. Not a stirb. This is Russian. Chieftains, baby. It does kind of look like a stirrup, you're correct.
Okay, you can see the vehicles are heading back to the tank logger. After the show, you can go up close to those vehicles, you can meet the crews, talk about their history, what it's like to operate these vehicles. We'd like you to stay clear out of that area until the end of the show because obviously they're moving some super heavy equipment. But that's not it. We have a finale here.
Check this out, guys.
All of our tank Saturdays here.
It's going to be a tank battle between a Leopard and an M60.
How many here have ever played World of Tanks? Okay, well, at least a fifth. So World of Tanks, the game World of Tanks online, we have a close cooperation with them, as they do with military museums and tank museums all over the world. Their game, they're very conscious of accuracy and historical accuracy on their vehicles, so they work a lot with military museums.
For sure,
and they've
Target.
sponsored a lot of events, including this one, and helped the museum out a lot in spreading the word about military museums, not just within Canada, but throughout the world, getting a lot of international visitors to come here to Ontario to experience what you just experienced. So we came up with a finale segment for our show called World of Tanks Battle Royale. And if you've ever played the game, it's kind of like that. There is one crew in one main battle tank, and they're going to come out on the field, and they're going to fight in a simulated tank battle another crew in another main battle tank. So you're going to see MBTs moving as they would in real life in the field, quickly moving, the full crew operating the turret, operating the gun in a simulated tank battle.
What?
Does that sound like a good finale?
Dude, thank you for the 500 bits. Very kind, man. Very kind.
And how it works is they're going to come out here. This is going to be very loud, very fast. Okay, we're not talking about the chieftain there. We're going to be talking about two fairly capable and fast main battle tanks on this arena. I'm going to get off to the side and narrate. And this is not choreographed. The crews are actually trying to defeat the other crew. They're trying to move into a good firing position. They're trying to get their gun on target, and they're trying to fire on the enemy tank. At the end of the simulated battle, they will come out here in front, and based on what you know about those tanks and about their strengths and weaknesses, you, the crowd, will decide which tank crew won World of Tanks Battle Royale. Right? Sound fun?
Woo! Yeah.
All right, let me check with the tank crews.
Has the M60 ever won?
Yes, the M60 has won. Actually, last tank Saturday. M60, are you ready? Over.
Hey, Peter.
Leopard 1, are you ready?
Ask
Over.
him about when we use Simfix, okay? I'll ask him.
Tanks, come out to your front positions. Over.
Here we go.
That must be so cool. Just to, like, call it out.
Here comes the M60, guys. Oh, Leopard. Here's the Leopard. Here we have our two contenders. So here, already introduced, is the American Chrysler-built M60 main battle tank. It is the heavier tank. It's very well balanced, but look at the armor on the front of this tank. Any hit by the Leopard on the front of that tank would not go through. The armor is so incredibly thick. The Leopard team will have to use their guile, their speed, and their skills to try to get hits on the commander's cupola, the side of the vehicle, or into the engine deck of the M60. The M60 is slower
but it has that extra protection. Both vehicles have the exact same gun. I was talking about the 105 NATO round. So the firepower of both vehicles is exactly the same. The Leopard, it can take hits to its hull and survive, but probably much fewer than the M60. The Leopard will have to rely on its speed, its maneuverability. Can it get to a firing position before the M60? Can it even get on a flank position of the M60? These two main battle tanks are going to head out into the field, start a firing position. I'm going to get to safety off to the sides, and we are going to do World of Tanks Battle Royale.
Get ready. It's time.
Yeah, I don't want to take off the... Now, what is this Leopard tank? This is a Belgian Army Leopard 1A5. So we saw that early Canadian Leopard C1. That was an earlier mark. And as I said, this one has a cast thicker turret. So that welded armor turret we saw in that early Canadian tank, this actually has a well-armored turret and could possibly take a couple of hits from the M60. However, because it's about 10 tons lighter than the M60, overall its hull has less armor. So both of these crews are going to have to use their skills, and they're going to have to use the capabilities of their tank to convince you that they're the better tank crew. Are you guys ready for this? Oh, I know it's been a long tank show, but that didn't sound good. Are you guys ready for this? Woo! Tankers, take your positions.
Here we go.
The M60 is not even in position, and it's already turning its gun.
Sorry, Targi.
Note that the M60 has got a good position. Its hull is protected by that roundabout. Already tracking the Leopard. Leopard, using its speed, is shot off by the M60. It's the first to fire. Leopard returns fire. This is where the M60 is going to be exposed. The Leopard might use their speed to get on the rear of the M60. Notice both gunners are tracking their target. Now the M60's hull is protected by that hill, but just for a moment. Leopard in a great firing position. M60 engine exposed. Can the M60 get behind cover before the Leopard gunner can get off a round? Great shot by the Leopard, still tracking the target. Now the M60 in a very superior position. Armor front, behind a hill. This is great shot by the M60. Leopard is at a disadvantage. You can see he doesn't like the position. He's charging the M60. But the M60 is not backing off. He's just standing there. Nope, the M60 crew has decided that this is not a good position. Leopard now with a huge advantage.
Oh, it's so
M60
loud.
has its engine deck exposed. But got behind the hill before the Leopard could fire. Now the gunner of the M60 tracking the Leopard. Look how the M60 moved its frontal armor, its glacis plate towards the enemy. Great move by the M60. Exchanging rounds. At each other on the move. Again, the speed of the Leopard allows it to get to firing position faster than the M60. Can the Leopard get off a shot into that engine? Leopard in a firing position, M60 still moving. Now the Leopard, great shot by the Leopard, may have hit the side of that hull.
So awesome.
M60 not taking position, charging the Leopard.
Here we go. It's gonna be loud.
Shot on the move by the Leopard.
Leopard smoking.
Wow, the speed of that Leopard. Great firing position there. Hull of the Leopard is protected by the hill. Good shot. M60 slightly exposed on the side there. Crew realizes that. They're now pulling back behind the hill. Leopard's getting off a few rounds.
Oh. Exposing itself.
Leopard definitely in the superior position now.
Leopard taking the shot.
Tankers, tankers, come out front. Tankers, tankers, come out front. Leopard, that one doesn't count.
Who won? Predictions? I think the Leopard won. The Leopard was in a superior position most of the time. McLeod.
Okay, I just want to remind the audience that you are not voting for what is your favorite tank. With everything that you've learned today, you're voting on how did the crew utilize the strengths of their tank,
Damien, thank
exploit
you,
the weaknesses of the enemy tank, and ultimately win World of Tanks Battle Royale. So you're voting for how the tank moved, how the tank fired, how many shots they got off, where they're just firing at a weak spot, all that kind of stuff.
Right, bad
So
Papa
how
Surf.
it works is with applause and hoots and hollering and banging pots. Who believes the M60 won the battle?
The M60. Uh-oh.
Who believes the Leopard won the battle?
Yeah, I think the Leopard won.
I'm sorry, M60 and M60 crew. You won it last month, but... So, the Armageddon Tank Saturday World of Tanks champions, the Leopard 1 crew. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again on behalf of all the members of the Ontario Regiment Museum for coming out, showing your support. We hope you enjoyed a fantastic show.
Rigged.
If you really enjoyed us,
Rigged.
enjoyed the show, if it was something spectacular
Put the
you want
rigged
to
team
tell
out in
your
chat,
friends
guys.
about, why don't you tell the world about it on TripAdvisor? It really, really helps the museum if you leave us a review on Facebook, Google, or TripAdvisor. Also, enjoy the rest of your day here. Tank rides will resume. Meet the tank crews. Check out the museum. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys next tank season, 2023 Tank
Bombs will
Saturday.
love
Thanks
it.
again, guys.
Rigged. Rigged. Love it. Guys, I hope you had an awesome time being here this afternoon and seeing the show. Glad I was able to bring it to you. There the commander goes in the Jeep. Troy. Cheer 1,000. Dude, thank you for the bits. That was awesome. See you soon, Bovington. I'd love to, man. Seymour, good to see you. Everybody, 13 Disciple says hi. It's been absolutely incredible today. I know you can't hear me very well because of the music. Take a look. We got 24 cups. Fresh off the Sheridan. There's the leopard. Let's get a close-up of the leopard, everyone. Cheers and thanks. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. There's the M60 climbing the hill. Yo, Rooster Bacon. Thank you for the 69 biddies, dude. Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys, look at that. I put my hands up. She aimed right at me. You guys are very welcome. Again, thank you so much for coming today and hanging out with me and watching. Thank you for the follows. I super appreciate it. Sacrificial Prawn, thank you for the follow. Rooster, thank you for the 69 biddies. Targi, thank you for the 1,000. Awesome. Guys, you guys are incredible. Goose, Duck, they're firing t-shirts. Oh, jeez. Just don't call them 25% crew and you're safe. Exactly. Listen to this rumble. Listen, listen. Hear that? Can you guys hear the rumble? Purrs like a kitten, exactly. So, awesome, guys. Again, thank you very much. I'm gonna turn the stream off here. My phone is running out on juice. Again, thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And I have to give you a handshake from Damien.
Damien?
There's the handshake.
Hey Damien, how you going? You still have to get your boomerang up here.
Get your boomerang up here. That's totally what he meant, your boomerang. There it is. She's beautiful, guys. Anyway, have a great one. Thank you all for being here, and see you next time. Have a good one, everyone. Love you all. Bye. See you guys later. It's been phenomenal.